is the Toronto Argonauts. Last week, Toronto defeated the Grey Cup champion Edmonton Eskimos 30-22. Toronto quarterback Conrad Holloway connects with wide receiver Terry Greer for his second TD reception of the year and Toronto's third victory of the season. Toronto's in first place in the Eastern Division, 3 points ahead of the Hamilton Tiger Cats, who'll be looking to burst the Toronto bubble tonight. ESPN, the Total Sports Network, proudly presents for the third consecutive season coverage of professional football from Canada, featuring the Canadian Football League. From Iberwin Stadium in Hamilton, Ontario, it's the Toronto Argonauts versus the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Brought to you by Natural Light, the beer with a taste for food. And by Timex, timekeeper to ESPN. Timex, we make technology beautiful.
When the feast runs deep, fresh and flavorful, what's more natural than Natural Light beer? Ah, Natural Light from Anheuser-Busch, the beer with a taste for food. Just naturally right with all those good things from the sea you love to eat. So when you've really put something into a meal,
what's more natural than Natural Light?
About it, the heat is on here in Hamilton. The Ticats were the preseason favorites to walk away with the Eastern Conference. That has not been the case so far. As a matter of fact, they find themselves 3 points behind the Toronto Argonauts heading into tonight's ball game. And the question has to be, what's wrong with the Ticats? Who better to answer that than their top quarterback, Tom Clements? Tommy, what's the problem?
Well, the problem is offensively. Our defense has been playing very good football, and our offense has been moving the ball. It's frustrating that we're the top yardage gainer in the league, and we've lost 3 games, and we haven't been able to get the ball in the end zone. I think the main problem is we've just been making too many mistakes, too many turnovers. That includes interceptions, fumbles, and we're getting critical penalties at the wrong time and just breaking assignments at the wrong time. And if you continually do these things, you're not going to get the sustained drives that you need and get the ball in the end zone, and that's been the problem.
Well, that's what happened recently. What's going to happen tonight? How do you plan to attack the Argos?
Well, the Argonauts have been playing very well defensively. They employ 6 defensive backs most of the time, especially the last 2 games. And they like to blitz a lot and put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. So we plan to roll out a little more than usual and hit some quicker passes against them and not let them put us in a bad position on second down. We think it's very important to get positive yardage on first down so that we have a second and short situation where we can run the ball or throw the ball. And against 6 defensive backs, if we get in that situation, the run should be fairly effective.
Tommy, good luck to you. And right now, let's go over to Leif Pettersson.
Well, the Toronto Argonauts have won 3 games in a row, and although the offense has come up with a big play, the story to their success has been tough defense, and nobody's played better than number 31, Zach Henderson, who anchors that defensive secondary. And Zach, I wonder how you're going to defense that potent Hamilton Tiger Cat offense this evening.
Well, I think the important thing is, and probably the key to the game is how we contain Tom Clements, and we're not going to be able to let him scramble around in the backfield and complete those patterns on the broken plays. And also, we're going to have to get some pressure on him because, you know, if we don't get pressure on Tom, he just sit back there and, you know, he's an excellent quarterback and he'll complete a lot of passes against us.
Zach, quickly, why are the 1982 Argos so much better?
Well, I think we have a young ball club, and I guess the most important thing is our desire to win. We want to compete and want to be competitive, and we want to win a lot of games.
Zach, good luck tonight.
Thanks, Lee.
There is no question this is the most exciting ball game we've had between the Argos and the Hamilton Ticats in a long, long time. But here it is, Friday the 13th. On top of that, we have a situation, of course, whereby the Hamilton Tiger Cats in games against the Argos at their home park, Ivor Wynne Stadium, have allowed the Argos to win only twice in the last 12 years. Maybe that's why the odds makers have decided that Hamilton should be 4-point favorites. Personally, I'm very surprised. Here are the Cats coming into this game, and they have been having trouble. They got upset by Montreal. Here's Toronto coming in after the biggest win that they've had in many a year over the Edmonton Eskimos, and the Argonauts in first place, 3 points ahead. Despite that, the Argos are underdogs by 4, and the reason is Ivor Wynne Stadium. But I'll tell you, as Conrad Holloway, the quarterback of the Argos, told me, he said, you know, Bill, he said, the difference this year with the Argos is you tell the young kids about the problems they'll have at Ivor Wynne Stadium, and you know what they say? Ivor Wynne Stadium, where's that? They don't know about the Argo past, all of the problems over the years. And now we're going to our national anthem. The Toronto Argonauts and the Hamilton Ticats are all set. We'll have the opening kickoff in just a moment.
Now.
And now we go upstairs to a couple of fellows for whom Friday the 13th holds no superstitions, I hope. Pat Marsden and Leif Pettersson. And fellows, I think we're in for a good one.
Well, I can assure you we're in for a noisy one anyway, Bill. Bernie Ruoff is set. Cedric Mitter, John Lowe, and Terry Greer are deep. And this will be John Lowe from his 2-yard line. Lowe gets out over the 20 to about the 22. Good containment there by that Hamilton special team, and the Argos will be starting inside their 25-yard line as Grover Covington, the big defensive end, number 66, was first down to make the stop. We'll set up that Toronto Argonaut offensive alignment for you as you see Conrad Holloway, of course, is the starting quarterback. Cedric Mitter had a big game against Saskatchewan. Bob Brock can run the ball, too. And as you look at the Toronto receivers, David Newman, of course, is not in there tonight. Rather, Jan Karinci will start inside. It is first down Toronto on the first offensive series of the ball game. Holloway wanted to put it up. Everybody was covered, so he takes off himself, and he gets very close to the first down. Carm Cartieri was there to pin him, but Conrad will have close to a 10-yard gain.
Well, pretty good defense by the Ticats. They were in a man-to-man coverage as we see Toronto's offensive line anchored by number 69, Dan Ferroni. But Carm Cartieri had to cover Cedric Mitter out of the backfield, and this left Holloway open to scramble, and he broke that containment. Now the defensive ends of Hamilton have to keep Holloway inside if they're going to be successful on defense tonight.
Placement of the ball means that the Argonauts will have a second and 2 or 3 inches to go. That's how close Holloway came to picking up the first down. Boy, it's a noisy crowd here at Ivor Wynne. You've played here, Leif. The adrenaline's got to be pumping for those guys in the yellow and black.
Well, it certainly does, Pat. Their backs are up against the wall. They know they have to play well this evening.
Early game, but a very important one. This is Mitter. Mitter has the first down. He's out over the 35 to about the 36-yard line. So Toronto on their first offensive series moved the yardsticks as Gerald Best, number 14, was there to make the tackle for the Ticats. All right, let's look at that Hamilton defensive line, and they played well.
Well, they really have, Pat. They're second in the league in total defense, and they've shifted this evening to a 3-man line with Jim Muller playing on the nose, James Ramey and Grover Covington at the ends. And you see newcomer number 75, Jeff Blanchard, is actually listed as a linebacker.
It is first down. Argos, the ball at their 36-yard line. Holloway throws. Minter makes the catch, gets the first down, and he's across the 50 to about the 52-yard line. Vernon Paul, the cornerback, number 27 on that side, was there to make the tackle along with Joe Kuklo, number 21, but not before Minter had picked up 16 yards.
Part of that run-and-shoot offense, Conridge Holloway dumping the ball off to Cedric Minter, and the newcomer, number 75, Jeff
Blanchard.
Jeff Blanchard, that's right, has him in man-to-man coverage, and I'll tell you, that's a lot of pressure on the young rookie to cover Cedric Minter one-on-one.
First down, Toronto. The ball at their 52-yard line. Back-to-back first downs for the Argos. Pearson makes the reception. He has another first down. And Pearson is down to the Hamilton 40-yard line. The tackle for Hamilton made by Howard Fields, their sophomore inside safety. The gain is 17 yards, 3 in a row, first downs, Argos.
Well, once again, Hamilton staying in that man-to-man coverage. You know, I talked to Ben Zambiese earlier this week, and he said that defensive coach Dick Roach insisted on playing that man-to-man coverage, and it really puts a lot of pressure. If Howard Fields has to cover Paul Pearson coming all the way across the field, and that's a tough job to do. As you see him trailing him from behind, he finally makes the play, but Toronto's on the move.
First down, Argos at the Hamilton 41-yard line. Bob Bronk, the big fullback, crosses the 40, gets to the 39. So he'll have a gain of just a couple as the nose tackle, number 69, Jim Muller, the former Queens University star, along with James Ramey, number 68, the defensive end, make the stop.
You have a look at the Hamilton Ticats secondary, and it's an excellent man-to-man secondary, led by the veteran David Shaw in the corner, having another good year.
It's second and long, the first time the Argos have been in this situation in this drive. 2nd and 8 yards to go. The ball at the Hamilton 39-yard line. The Argos have taken the opening kickoff and strung together 3 first downs. And now they're going to be called on a time count violation. Here's the call from referee Lauren Woods.
Toronto, number 11, second down.
Well, I think really that Lauren Woods meant number 7 because that's the quarterback, Conridge Holloway. Number 11 is Mike Williams, who is the backup to Holloway at that quarterbacking position. And some people may say, well, a 5-yard penalty, big deal. It makes it 2nd and 13. But for Toronto, it is a big deal. Many of their passes, their routes only go 7 or 8 yards. Pressure on Holloway, but he got away from it. Now he dumps it off to Carinci. He has the first down. And Carinci is inside the 20-yard line. Jan Carinci, the Scarborough boy who went to Maryland University, picks up 24 yards, and the Argos have 4 straight first downs.
Well, Pat, I don't think that plays in the Argo playbook, but they certainly had lived very well here. As you see, Joe Kuklo doesn't know who to take, whether to pressure Holloway or come up, and he just dumps the ball off to Jan Carinci, and an excellent second down play.
Argos, first down at the Hamilton 20-yard line. Hard to believe these are the 2-14 Argos of a year ago. Cedric Minter, and Minter is all wrapped up right at the line of scrimmage. Ben Zambiase and Carm Cartieri, 31 and 47, are there to bring him down. That linebacking brigade for the Ticats has Cartieri, 47, John Priestner, 36, Ben Zambiase, 31, and Jeff Blanchard, the newcomer from Rutgers University, number 75. And like so many teams in the CFL, Ticats employing their 3-man front. Holloway pumped once, could not find Terry Greer open, tried to release it to Cedric Minter, and the ball sails out of bounds.
Well, credit that incompletion to Leroy Paul on the corner. He did an outstanding job covering Terry Greer on the post pattern. That forced Conridge Holloway to try and dump the ball off, but the incompletion now brings on the Big Z.
Zenon Andrusishin.
We get a chance to see Terry Greer here, and Leroy Paul does an excellent job on the coverage, man-to-man coverage.
Despite the fact that the drive stalled, Bob Obilovich has to be delighted. Mouse Davis, the offensive coordinator, too, as Andrusishin's field goal is wide. David Shaw allows it to bounce through the end zone as Holloway now roughs it up a little bit out on the field. Well, you don't see quarterbacks do that too often. Joe Kuklo and Conrad Holloway roughing it up a little bit. But the Argo drive picks up only 1 point as Zenon Andrusishin was wide, and so it is Toronto 1, Hamilton nothing, and we'll be back in just a moment. Cats dodged a bullet on that one, a 67-yard drive, and all the Argos got out of it was a single point. First down, Ticats, the first time they've had the ball tonight. Starting from their 35-yard line. Clements is going to put it up. Does. It is complete to Ron Johnson. And Johnson is upended by Don Rose, but a big play to the wide receiver from Long Beach State, number 73. Ron Johnson, good for 24 yards.
Wow, excellent play-action pass by Tom Clements. Both wide receivers, Keith Baker and Ron Johnson, running a crossing pattern, and he finds the soft spot in the zone and makes the catch, and the Ticats looking very impressive on their opening drive.
Ball is at the Toronto 51-yard line. The toss is to Obi Graves, his first carry back as a member of the Ticats. And Graves gets into about the 47-yard line before Jeff Gabrielson, number 72, and Rick Moore, the defensive player of the week last week, number 76, make the tackle. The gain will be about 4 yards, make it 2nd and 6 Ticats.
Well, we have a chance to see the Hamilton Tiger Cat backfield, and number 23, Rocky DiPietro, as I mentioned in the top of the show, leading the league in pass receiving with 31 catches.
DiPietro and Rick House, to me, two of the great receivers in the game, both Canadians, of course. As Clements rolls out of there, fires, Johnson makes the catch. A pretty play. Poetry in motion for Ron Johnson, who just went high in the air and with his soft hands makes the catch.
Well, was that ever a great play? The Hamilton Ticats flooding 3 receivers to one side, and Ron Johnson just goes way in the air, takes the hit, but makes the catch. You know, he's had 4 touchdowns already this year, the rookie.
He picked up 15 yards on that play. The Ticats have a first down at the Toronto 32-yard line. Clemens fires. DiPietro makes the catch and slips the tackle. And is inside the 20 to the 19-yard line. Leo Gray missed the tackle. Steve Aykroyd finally made it. But DiPietro was able to shake free of Gray and pick up 13 yards on Friday the 13th.
Well, you know, that's a favorite play of Tom Clements, just to slip DiPietro straight out in the flat. And he knows if Rocky catches the ball, at least he's going to pick up 6 or 7 yards. In this case, he picked up a first down, but it's an excellent first down play because in most cases it leaves you with second and short yardage. As I mentioned, in this case, Rocky, with great second effort, picks up the first down.
That's 3 in a row first downs for the Ticats. Argos had 4 before their drive stalled.
Appears that Mark Braganola a little shaken up on the play. Ray Jones and his training assistant Jeff Howe to have a look.
Mark, of course, started with the Toronto Argonauts, then to Winnipeg, then here.
You know, Tommy Clements told me this week that it was so important for a team that's struggling to get off to a good start in a ball game of this importance, and they've certainly done that. Pat, they've come out and they've marched it right down the field, looked extremely impressive.
Well, as we see Mark getting up to his feet, that's a good sign because he does have a floating bone chip in his knee, but fortunately that apparently is not the injury. It's Toronto 1, Hamilton nothing. We'll be back in just a moment. Ticat fans weren't too happy at number 11. You see the kid walking up. He had an Argo flag. But the Ticats are happy because they've got a first down inside the Argonaut 20-yard line. Flag comes down as Obi Graves, the ball carrier, gets a couple to about the 18-yard line. See what that flag's all about. Offside, Toronto is the early indication. Here's the call from Lorne Woods.
Offside, Toronto 64. First down repeated.
Leon Lescavage was offside, number 64. It'll be first down, 5 yards to go. Hamilton And for those of you who may have suspected that the Ticats were dead, don't believe it. They have looked impressive in this opening drive. With 6 minutes and 54 seconds left to play in this opening quarter, the Ticats trail 1-0, but they're on the move. The toss again goes to Obie Graves, but Rick Moore, number 76, hopped on his back and contained him to about a 2-yard advance.
Good defense by number 76, Rick Moore. He fought off the block of the right tackle, Marv Alamang, and made a good stop on Obie Graves. This is where it gets tough, to where the Ticats have had all their trouble this season. But they get down inside that 20-yard line, moving the football.
The Argo front four is Rusty Olson, 79, Leon Lescavage, 64, Earl Wilson, 58, and Rick Moore, 76, and they have been tough. This is Obie Graves again. And Graves drops the ball. The Argos have recovered. Well, wait a sec. No, the Cats get it back. About 6 or 7 different players had a shot at it.
Well, it's certainly a break for the Ticats. I can't believe Toronto didn't pick up that fumble. It looked like 3 Argonauts had a good chance at recovering it. As we'll see, Obie Graves, Tommy trying to cross up that Toronto defense, running the football on 2nd and 4 down there. But watch as about 3 or 4 Argonauts definitely have a good shot at recovering that ball. But luckily, Rocky DiPietro finally comes up with it.
All right, now the Cats have had problems with their field goal unit because Dave Graffey, who's a running back, comes in to center the ball. He gets it back, and Ruoff's field goal is good. And so the Ticats, with 5 minutes and 43 seconds left to play in the opening quarter, go out in front, 3-1. 2 impressive drives for the Argos and for the Cats, but the Cats got more out of theirs.
Well, it really was. And we get a chance to see the fumble again from the end zone camera. Really a pretty good hit by Steve Aykroyd. Knocks the ball out with his helmet. But look, it's just a free-for-all here going for the football, and the Ticats did recover. Pat did mention about the new center in there, Dave Graffey, snapping on 3rd down. I tell you, he shot a pop fly out of there. It was a good thing Tommy could bring it down and hold it for Bernie.
So now the Argos start from their own 35-yard line, and now they trail 3-1. Cedric Minter. And Minter gets to about the 38, not much further. Joe Kuklo and Gerald Best were over there to make the stop. Bob Obilovich, and what a job this man has done. Played for the Ottawa Rough Riders, coached with George Brancato in Ottawa, knows the Canadian Football League, has assembled a top-notch staff. And I'll tell you, his team in every game, preseason and regular season, has played with the desire that Obie had as a player.
You know, Pat, the way a team's special teams perform is usually a direct reflection of the coaching staff, and Toronto's special teams have been just outstanding.
It is 2nd down, 8 yards to go. Argos. Holloway again gets the pressure and is sacked back at his 33-yard line. James Ramey, number 68, gets the sack.
But I'll tell you, James Ramey must feel pretty good because he spent the entire training camp with the Toronto Argonauts, was released, and now brought back to Hamilton, and he gets his first sack of the ball game.
Ramey had him low. Jim Muller, playing the nose tackle spot, number 69, had him high. So Zenon Andrusician will be punting for the first time tonight. It is 3rd and 12, Argos. Howard Fields and David Shaw back to receive this punt. A high twisting spiral. Well, this is Shaw. Shaw tried to get outside, but Mike Hamiluk, who is very, very active on those special teams for the Argos, was down to make the tackle inside the Hamilton 40-yard line. It is Hamilton 3, Toronto 1. We'll be back in just a moment. Argonauts, 1992 maybe, that young fellow. That's what he's dreaming right now. But the Hamilton fans are excited. The Ticats have the ball inside their 40-yard line on 1st down. The pass is complete to Baker. And Baker will have about 8 yards. JoJo Heath, number 24, the newcomer from the University of Pittsburgh, who, like all of that Argos secondary, have played so well in the 5 games to this point, was there to make the tackle.
Well, you know what the key for the Toronto secondary has been in their last 3 wins is they haven't given up the big play. They've kept everything. All the defensive backs have kept the receivers in front of them, just as JoJo Heath did on that play. Let Baker have the 8-yard out and then came up and made the tackle. But of course, the secret to their defense has been not to give up that big play.
Mind you, as Tommy Clements said, we want to pick up sizable yardage on first down, and then we have the option of run or pass on second. He throws, and is complete. There to make the catch for the Ticats is Obie Graves, number 25. Zach Henderson, the league-leading tackler on the Argonauts with 25.5 tackles, is there to bring him down.
Well, Obie Graves out of the backfield. He's playing because Kyle Stevens hurt his knee last week and picks up his first catch this evening.
Obie, of course, started here in Hamilton, then went to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. This is his first game back, as the Ticats now have the ball inside the Toronto 50, first down. Good block by Graves. The pass intended for Baker was broken up by Don Rose. But Obie, I'll tell you, laid a heck of a block to allow Clements to get that ball away.
Obie laid a heck of a block, and he's feeling it. He's still down, but this man right here, Don Rose, could have easily had an interception. Just an excellent defensive play as he steps in front of Keith Baker. You know, on the previous series, they ran that same play and threw DiPietro out in the flat. This time they tried to get Baker, and Don Rose was ready for it. Maybe that's why he was the CFL Player of the Week last week.
Probably the reason. 2nd and 10, Hamilton. The ball at the Argo 49-yard line. The Cats lead it 3-1 late in the first quarter. Clemens throws. Baker makes the catch after bobbling it momentarily, but he should have the first down. He'll be very close to it.
Well, the Hamilton Ticats pick up the blitz. As you see, Mark Braganola picking up Zach Henderson coming on a safety blitz, but Keith Baker juggled his ball a little bit. He maybe was thinking Don Rose was on his back again, but he picks up the first down.
Rose and Aykroyd were there to make the stop, but it is another Hamilton first down with 1 minute and 50 seconds left to play in the opening quarter. A packed house at Ivor Wynne, and boy, are they vocal tonight. They're up for this one. So are the Ticats, obviously. They have 2 wins, 3 losses so far this season. Obie Graves, the ball carrier, and he hits off tackle to about the 34-yard line.
I don't know if this has anything to do with it, Pat, the exuberance of the fans that you were talking about, but for fans across the country, we should tell you that for the first time at Ivor Wynne Stadium, they are now selling beer. It has started in Ontario at 3 different locations for sporting events, Lansdowne Park in Ottawa, the CNE Exhibition Stadium, Toronto, and here. And the fans tell me their big complaint now is the lineups are so long they can't get near the place.
The gain was 4 yards. It is 2nd and 6 as the minute flag comes up. Clemens throws. It is picked off by Darrell Wilson. And they rule no interception. They rule that when Wilson went down, the ball came out.
Well, I hope we get a second look at that. It looked like a pretty good catch from here, but nevertheless, it just shows you what kind of ball hawks those Toronto Argonauts have in their defensive secondary. Once again, Ron Johnson high in the air, but JoJo Heath in with the tackle. Now Rocky, that's true, definitely a good call by the officials. When DiPietro tackled Darrell Wilson, the ball did come loose.
So the Ticats will try their second field goal of the ball game. Quarterback Tom Clements will spot it at the 41.5-yard line. Ruoff is good again. And so, with just 34 seconds left to play in the opening quarter, the Ticats have extended their lead 6-1, and it's interesting to note that Hamilton was a 4-point favorite, according to the odds makers, coming into this ball game, and many people couldn't figure that out. But they're ahead right now by 5.
Well, this is not the same Hamilton club that fans saw play against the Montreal Concord. I don't think there is any doubt that when they play the Argos, there is just that little added incentive. And when they play in their home park, like most clubs, they just play a little tougher. Well, maybe tougher than most clubs in their home park. There are a few, however, like Saskatchewan, and you can name 2 or 3 others that are as tough. But this is certainly one of the hard spots to come into.
You're absolutely correct, Bill, as Conrad Holloway brings that Argo offense out. And the pass was very nearly picked off by David Shaw as he stepped in front of the newcomer to the Toronto lineup, number 15, Scott McGee.
Well, David Shaw, the 8-year veteran, in bump and run coverage on the newcomer Scott McGee, and he does an excellent job coverage here. He should have really had the interception. Couldn't come up with it, but he's certainly been the best defensive back the Ticats have had over the years.
That was only the second incompletion for Conrad Holloway. He has thrown 6, completed 4 for 60 yards so far in this first quarter. This should be the final play of the opening 15 minutes. Holloway throws it in the middle to his fullback, Bob Blount. But what an open field tackle by Howard Fields. Fields comes up with the big play to stop the Argonaut fullback, and they'll be punting when we come back at the end of the first quarter of play. It is Hamilton 6, Toronto 1. We'll return with the second quarter in just a moment. Ticat fan in Hamilton right now. They lead it 6-1, and the Argos are forced to punt as we open the second quarter of play. But now Zenon Andrusicyan will have the wind at his back as David Shaw, 37, and Howard Fields, 16, await deep. And this is a beauty. Shaw takes it at his 17-yard line. And then is forced out as he gets to about the 24. So the Ticats will be starting with their worst field position of the ball game. But the Ticats have moved the ball effectively.
Well, they certainly have, Pat. You know, as we said, that was what Tom Clements felt was the key to the game tonight, getting off to a good start. And although they haven't put it in the end zone for the touchdown yet, they certainly have moved the ball well and picked up 6 points.
The fleet-footed Johnson, number 73, is flanked to the bottom of your screen. As they give to Mark Bragignola back in the game, and Bragignola reaches for the 30-yard line before Jeff Gabrielson, number 72, and Leon Lescavage, 64, make the stop.
Well, Toronto once again this week going with a 4-man defensive line, and very difficult for the Hamilton Ticats to run the football against this, and especially with John Pointer and Jeff Gabrielson in behind at the linebacking spots. They're 2 excellent linebackers.
The gain was 5. It is 2nd and 5. Ticats at their 29-yard line. Clemens' pass is complete to Baker. Now, what position on the field will they give him? They give him the 35-yard line, and that'll be enough for the first down. You know, you played with Tommy Clements. He really is a quiet, subdued, very confident quarterback, though.
Well, he really is. It's very difficult to read Tom if you're up 40 points or down 40 points. He always has his composure, and he's looked good so far this evening.
First down, Ticats from their 35. Obi Graves on the draw. Graves gets to about the 37 or 38-yard line. Jeff Gabrielson again, the middle linebacker, and Steve Aykroyd, number 26, were there. So the gain is a couple. It is 2nd and 8. If you've just joined us, it is 6-1. Hamilton over Toronto. We are just underway here in the second quarter of play. The Argos took the opening kickoff and marched all the way downfield, but Andrusicyan was wide on his field goal try. Since then, Bernie Ruoff has been good on 2 field goal tries for the Ticats. Baker makes the catch. But he does not get to the 45-yard line, and he had to reach that point for the first down. Leo Gray, number 28, was there to make the stop along with Darrell Wilson.
Well, that's a tall order, stopping Keith Baker in the open field. As we hear the crowd in the background wanting the Ticats to go for it, but here we see Baker making the catch, and actually it's number 31, Zach Henderson, who does an excellent open field tackling job there, holding Baker short of that first down.
Well, they're about a full yard away from the first down. You know, you talked to Zach Henderson before this ball game on camera. To me, he's been the outstanding defensive player in the CFL in the first 5 weeks of the season.
Well, he certainly has. Every game I've seen him play, he's hit every receiver in sight. And I know I talked to Joey Walters after the Saskatchewan game, and Joey said he's never been hit that hard in his whole career than when he was hit by Zach Anderson 3 or 4 times.
All right, 3rd and a yard. Hamilton. Ball at their 44-yard line. All right, they gave it to Mark Bragignola. Let's see where he got. If he got to the 45, he's got the first down, and that's the signal from referee Lauren Woods.
Well, you know, under normal circumstances, I would have said that was a safe gamble. But, you know, last week against Montreal, they turned the ball over twice on downs. But nevertheless, they did pick up that first down.
So from their 45-yard line, the Ticats begin again. Clemens throws. Baker could not make the catch. The ball was there.
Well, it was there, and Tommy sure took a good shot from number 64, Leon Leskevich, as we see on the replay here. You just wonder. I know that Clements' line hasn't given him that much protection this year, but you wonder how long he can take this kind of punishment.
There's the penalty call. So the Argos accept the penalty. Make it 1st and 20. Ticats back at their 35-yard line. We've got 10 minutes, 50 seconds left to play in the second quarter of a game that is rolling right along. Ticats out in front, 6-1, with a first down and 20 from their 35-yard line. The screen is set up, but Obi Graves could not make the catch. And then a diving Jeff Gabrielson could not bring it in either. Gabrielson, the ex-Montreal Alouette of a year ago, feels that he should have made the interception. Tommy Clements, strangely enough, coming into this ball game as we see him set up for the screen, had completed 63.7% of his passes, yet had only 5 touchdowns and 13 interceptions.
Well, experts say that your interceptions and touchdown ratio should be even, and in this case, certainly Tommy's interceptions are far too high.
This is Obi Graves. And the Ticats play it conservatively, hoping to catch the Argos napping. They do not. Graves gains just 5 yards, so on 3rd and 15, Bernie Ruoff will be in for his first punt of the ball game.
Well, you have to give credit to that Argonaut defense. As we talked about at the beginning of the show, they have just played 3 Super Bowl games in a row, and they're playing very well this evening as well. They haven't given up the big play, and that's what their defense is predicated on.
JoJo Heath, number 24, Jan Carinci, number 27, back to receive this punt from Bernie Ruoff. He's punting into the wind and gets a good one away. This will be Carinci from his 17-yard line. A flag comes down as Carinci crosses the 25 to about the 27. And normally that means an infraction on the return team, probably blocking below the waist. We'll find out when we come back. Because right now the Ticats have a 6-1 lead, and we will be back in just a moment. Bernie Ruoff, plus the penalty for blocking below the waist, and the Argos are hemmed in at their 12-yard line. To eat it. He got back to the line of scrimmage, but no further. Tremendous coverage by the secondary of the Hamilton Ticats. There was just nobody for Holloway to throw the ball to.
Well, you certainly called it, Pat. Leroy Paul did an excellent job on Terry Greer, as well as the rest of the secondary, and they just forced Conrad Holloway to try and run the football. So we see newcomer Earl Wilson on the bench. He's playing for the injured Fred Norgren. But the Ticat secondary, I would consider them one of the better secondaries in the CFL.
Wilson had a good game against the Eskimos last week, as all of the Argos did, obviously, because they won the ball game. It is 2nd and 10 Argos from their 12. Holloway throws in the middle, And Minter was not able to hang on. The ball hit him right in the hands. Conrad had a lot of mustard on that one. He really drilled it in there, and Minter was not able to squeeze it.
Well, he certainly did, and had Minter been able to hang on to that ball, he was gone, because there was man-to-man coverage, and there was nobody after Jeff Blanchard, as we see here. Minter just can't squeeze it, but there was nobody behind him, and he had clear sailing.
So Zenon Andrusician will be punting again. With 8 minutes, 30 seconds left to play in this second quarter, Hamilton out in front 6-1. And the Ticats should enjoy pretty good field position. Not a good kick by the Big C. However, Fields allows it to bounce and takes it at his 48-yard line. Gets to about the 53, no further. And so when we come back, that's where the Ticats will put it into play as they lead the Toronto Argonauts 6-1, and we will be back in just a moment.
I'm Johnny Bench. This is Krylon Spray Paint, the other leading national brand. And here comes my fast pitch, so watch close. Krylon Special Formula goes on smooth, just like a professional finish. And just 12 minutes later, it's dry to the touch. No runs, no drips, no errors. The other brand's still tacky after 1 hour. Let's see it again. Krylon dry after 12 minutes. Other brand still tacky after 1 hour. Did you catch that? Krylon, for a smooth, fast professional finish.
Off the white-bellied jet that lands me to a hotel that understands me. I've got business and I'm on the road again. Feeling the pressure mounting on me, counting the people counting on me. Competition like I can't remember when. And you can reach me at the Hilton. Just call me at the Hilton, and we'll get down to your business right away.
When American business hits the road, American business stops at Hilton, America's business address.
I've got Martin Cox with me. First of all, Martin, congratulations. Just had your first child.
Yes, sir. We just had a little girl about a week and a half ago. We named her Naomi, and she's doing just fine.
Great. Now, I'd like to ask you, you were injured in the last game, and it was just the last day or two before they decided you wouldn't play. But is Hamilton showing you anything different tonight?
Well, I think that Hamilton's really fired up, and they're at home, and they're always tough at home. And I think it's just a matter of us trying to get our act together.
Thanks, Martin.
Okay.
The Ticats begin from their 54-yard line. Swing pass goes out to Mark Bragagnola. And Bragagnola has a first down as he crosses into Toronto territory at the 43-yard line. Don Rose made the tackle.
Well, you talk about helping your running mate out as Bragagnola took that swing pass. Obie Graves threw him an excellent block on Leo Gray to spring him for that extra yardage and the first down. So you see at the bottom of your screen here, watch Obie Graves on Leo Gray. Good block.
First down, Ticats. The ball at the Toronto 43-yard line. The draw to Obie Graves. And Graves is inside the 40 to about the 38. He'll have close to 5 yards. Clemens trying to mix it up. A little run, a little pass. Bud Riley. Let's not kid anybody. He's in a tough position right now. The owner, Harold Ballard, who's never reluctant to say a whole lot of things, came out this week and said he wasn't satisfied with the job that the coaching staff was doing. This is a big game for Bud. They are supposed to be walk-away leaders of the Eastern Conference. If they lose this game, they are 5 points behind Toronto. If they win, they're just a point back. Over the middle, the pass intended for Stapler. No call. Fans thought that Darrell Wilson was all over his back, but the flag does not come down, and so we'll see Bernie Ruoff again.
Well, once again, the Toronto Argonauts secondary comes up with a big play. Zach Henderson on the blitz, man-to-man coverage, and number 13, Darrell Wilson, does a good job as the ball really was maybe thrown a little high for Stapler to bring in.
Ruoff's field goal try will come from the 46-yard line. He's been good on 2 of 2 so far tonight. This one is wide. Zach Henderson, 10 yards deep in the end zone, goes down on one knee, and the Ticats get another point and up their margin to 7-1.
Now, what do you think Bernie Ruoff does for an outside occupation from football?
I'll guarantee it's something different. What is it?
Bernie has a kennel just outside of Hamilton, and he raises and breeds Russian wolfhounds, if you can believe that.
Well, Bernie marches to his own drummer. There's no question about that.
Well, I think, well, I shouldn't say all kickers, but some of the kickers in the league are a little different, as we see.
There's Hilarious Harold.
And Joe Zuger alongside. Harold looks a little concerned here. Ticats only leading 7-1 at this point.
On the wide field goal try, the Argos take over at their 38-yard line with a first down. Holloway throws it. It's picked off by John Priestner, and then he dropped the ball. Priestner had it in his hands and couldn't squeeze it. That's about 3 or 4 interceptions tonight that had been dropped.
Well, it really was, and one of the few times that you'll see the Hamilton Tiger Cats in zone coverage. Priestner just a deep drop and reads the pattern, and really, he's a frustrated middle linebacker because he knows he should have had that interception.
John, of course, one of a few Canadians who have gone from college ball to the National Football League from the University of Western Ontario. He went to Baltimore. Now he's back with the Ticats as Holloway on 2nd and 10 throws. He's got Minter wide open. The Boise State All-American Cedric Minter is inside the Hamilton 20-yard line. Finally tackled by Ben Zambiazzi, but he gains 53 yards.
Well, a mix-up in the Hamilton Ticat secondary is looks like Carm Carteri should have had Cedric Minter in there, but that's the beauty of that run-and-shoot offense. You isolate all your receivers across the field one-on-one, and this time Minter was the winner as he's deep downfield, and the Argos are on the move.
And the Argos with a big following here, about 5,000 to 10,000 fans cheering on the double blue. They trailed 7-1. The draw to Bronk was read perfectly by Jim Muller. He was in first. Then Priestner and everybody else was there to follow.
Well, Pat, it certainly is an exciting game. Not a lot of points have been scored yet, but both teams are certainly moving up and down the field.
You could just feel the tension in the air, though. These Hamilton fans trying to outdo the thousands of Toronto fans that are here, and this place is bedlam. Holloway over the middle for Minter again. No good. Alex Ponton brought out a very important point, though. Minter has dropped a couple of passes, but he's looking back into the sun at this time of the night. The sun setting in the west is right in Minter's eyes.
Let me tell you, Pat, you're absolutely right. That sun is very low, and that is when it's really the worst. About 5 more minutes and it'll be gone. And by the way, we have got just an ideal night for this game and practically no wind. The flags are barely moving. It has been just a great, great night for this game.
The field goal try by Zenon Andrusishin will come from the 27-yard line. And it is good. And so, with 3 minutes and 31 seconds left to play in the first half, the score is Hamilton 7, Toronto 4. We'll be back in just a moment.
Okay, football fans, you've waited long enough. I've got your whole football season right here in this bag, and you can get the bag free. The season of '82 begins with Sports Illustrated's new college and pro football preview, their biggest preview issue ever, covering all conferences, all divisions. 120 pages, 40 pages of scouting reports. It's the football year to come in full color. And it's followed by week after week of football, as only Sports Illustrated can deliver it. Call toll-free 1-800-621-4300 for 25 issues, including the football preview for just $19.75. That's only 79 cents an issue, nearly half off the cover price. Call now, and you'll also get the sports bag free with your paid subscription. Hey, this is the biggest football offer Sports Illustrated's ever made. So call now and get it all. 1-800-621-4300. Tell them Rocky sent you.
Well, once again, we get a chance to see that great reception by Cedric Minter. as he outruns the Hamilton secondary and all over the field, but the Toronto Argonauts could only come out of that with 3 points.
So now the Ticats. The pass is complete to Baker. And Baker has a first down and more as he shows you the determination that the Ticats have displayed all game. Finally brought down by Leo Gray, just a little hitch pass. Tommy took one step back, fired it to his wide receiver, and Baker did most of it on his own.
Well, from ground level, just a quick screen to the wide receiver, Keith Baker, and he gets Marv Alamang out in front and number 54, Ross Francis, and I'll tell you, he's an exciting player to watch. Baker, he makes things happen, and he, at any time when he gets his hands on that football, he can go all the way.
Well, the gain was 18 yards, and when we come back, the Ticats will have a first down, leading it 7-4, and we'll be back in just a moment.
What's more natural than natural light?
The Hamilton Ticats lead it 7-4. They have a first down at their 53-yard line. This is the most enthusiastic Hamilton crowd I have seen in years. The Ticats are off to a dismal start by their standards, 2-3, but this is a key game for them. The fans know it, and so does that Hamilton offense. Clemens swings it out to Mark Bragignola, and Bragignola will be close to a first down. He'll probably gain about 9 yards. A lot of folks in on the tackle: John Pointer, Jeff Gabrielson, Steve Aykroyd. And now we're under 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 45 seconds left to play in this second quarter. Boy, it has moved right along. If it keeps going at this pace, we'll have the longest post-game show in the history of television. We'll interview ushers, the guy who's operating the crane, everybody.
All we'll need is Harold Ballard.
Second down, a yard to go. Hamilton, the ball at the Toronto 48-yard line. Argos appeared to be offside, but I don't see any flags. Well, they're going to measure for this one. I'd like to see that one back because it sure looked like the Argos moved, but it may have been a linebacker who stopped right at the line of scrimmage. And as you see, the Ticats are still a half-yard short.
Well, you know, the Ticats have just had an awful time picking up those second and short, third and shorts, as we see. Looked like a little movement there by...
Well, Pointer was definitely at least a foot offside.
Certainly did.
All right, a big play now for both the Ticats and the Argos. Third down. I say Tommy keeps it himself. He does, and he's got the first down. Tommy Clemens gives the Ticats the first down. I could tell the way he walked up to the line of scrimmage.
That's a nice call there, Coach.
Thank you, thank you.
You know, as we look back at the end of the game to our Panasonic play of the game, we'll certainly have to consider that long pass reception by Cedric Minter. Although they didn't cash in on a major score, he certainly set up a much-needed 3 points at the time, so possibly that could be our Panasonic play of the game.
Or maybe the play that's coming up right now, because the Ticats have a first down at the Toronto 46-yard line. 1:55 left to play in the first half. Clemens fakes the draw, and now he's going deep for Baker, who makes the catch down to the 9-yard line. What a throw, what a catch.
Well, as I said before, Keith Baker is the big play man of the Hamilton Ticat offense, and Tommy Clemens had been throwing those short out patterns. This time it was an out and up, and Baker just does an excellent job adjusting to the football, taking it all the way down to the 9-yard line.
6 catches for Keith Baker tonight, 86 yards. First and touchdown to go, Ticats at the Toronto 9-yard line. The draw to Obie Graves, and the Argos react well to it. He gets maybe a couple of yards, but he was wrapped up early by Jeff Gabrielson, number 72, the linebacker.
Well,
Gabrielson from Ripon College, acquired from Montreal, and what a job he's done since coming to Toronto.
I'm a little surprised at Tommy running the ball at this situation. He's been successful so far this evening throwing it, and really it seems like you're wasting a play almost down here running it.
Ball at the 7-yard line. Clemens fires it out to Graves. Touchdown! Obie Graves comes back to his old stomping grounds and scores the first touchdown of this ball game.
And you can hear the crowd. They're calling Obie, Obie. They really like Obie Graves here at Hamilton, and they're glad to have him back.
"75 yards, that touchdown march. As Bernie Ruoff will try to make it a 14-4 ball game, and he does.
This is an interesting touchdown pass to Obie Graves. If we can see, number 23, Rocky DiPietro, runs into Obie Graves' man, Leo Gray, trying to cover him. And Obie knows what to do with that ball when he gets it. He's into the end zone for Hamilton's first touchdown of the evening. Once again, from the ground level camera, Tom Clements to Obie Graves. We see Rocky DiPietro running into Leo Gray, and this enabled Graves to get in for the score.
Well, I tell you, the crowd noise is just deafening, though. This Ivor Wynne Stadium is just alive with enthusiasm by this packed house here tonight.
And you know, Pat, that's worth points to the home team. I can remember playing in the Eastern Final here 2 years ago as a player, and we had a full house, and it was just a tremendous advantage for us. They were just cheering like they are tonight, and it certainly gives the team a lift.
Talking to defensive coordinator Dale Lindsay prior to the start of this game, he said, "I just hope," he is with the Toronto Argonauts, he said, "I hope we can reach the level of intensity we had against Edmonton, but I don't know if we can." John Lowe, number 23, starts from his 5-yard line. And Lowe gets over the 20 to about the 22. And so with 50 seconds left to play, we'll see if the Argos play it conservatively, or do they try to get on the board before halftime.
Well, you know, when we consider our Carling O'Keefe offensive and defensive game stars, we certainly have to look to Keith Baker. Already in the first half, he has 6 receptions, and his last long reception was a direct lead into Obie Graves' touchdown.
Clemens has been good on 13 of 17 passes tonight as Conrad Holloway puts it up. He's looking for Paul Pearson. Shaw makes the interception out of bounds. Excuse me, it was Leroy Paul, 27, not 37.
Good coverage by Leroy Paul. He had a back injury and missed a lot of games late in the year last season, but he's back, as you see, from Texas Southern, and he's having an excellent season so far. Excellent cornerback, great speed and good hands. You know, if he could have held on to the ball in the early part of last season, he would have led the league in interceptions easily.
Well, the Ticat defense has played well all season long. The offense has been their problem, but right now they've got it on track. Holloway in a lot of trouble again, and he goes down back to the 21-yard line. And credit the sack to Grover Covington, number 66. He had 5 sacks coming into this ball game, the leader on that Hamilton defensive unit, and he gets another.
Well, Grover Covington came to the Ticats last year from the Montreal Alouettes, and he does a good job running down Conrad Holloway from behind, and the Ticats still have a chance to put some more points on the board here.
33 seconds and the clock is moving, left to play. And now we've got a timeout call. Let's see if the Ticats are calling a timeout. They are. Well, good move on their part.
Well, it was a good move, but Pat, when the referee signaled play in, there was 38 seconds left on the clock, and really they've wasted 6 precious seconds.
And that is certainly time enough for one play at least.
I don't know if it's their fault necessarily, though, Leaf, for the simple reason they were yelling on the bench here, time, and several of the players in the field were giving the time signal. But obviously the right man wasn't giving the signal to the referee, and that is the reason that they wasted the 6 or 7 seconds you're talking about.
That's absolutely correct, Bill. Only the acting captain on the field at that particular time can signal and give the referee the time and count, as we see Bud Riley on the sidelines. But any other player who signals timeout, the referee absolutely will ignore it.
You know, Bud Riley is another low-key guy. I'm sure that's why he and Clemens have such a good rapport. But I think Bud has done a good job. I mean, he did an excellent job in Winnipeg. He got the axe, but boy, I'll tell you, his club, no, but I mean, you know, coaches never control their own destiny. And one of the finest football games I ever saw in this league, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and the BC Lions in a playoff game in BC that was in the rain. It was shortly after that that Bud was fired, but I thought it was a bad rap. Anyway, on 3rd and 12, Andrew Sisson stands at his 5-yard line to punt. This is Shaw from his 48-yard line, dropped immediately, but a flag comes down. No yards will be the call against Don Rose, who was very quickly downfield. So the Ticats will have 24 seconds plus the ball inside Toronto territory.
No yards. Toronto, number 6.
Well, you heard referee Lauren Woods with the no yards penalty against Don Rose. The Ticats have first down at the Toronto 48-yard line.
You know, it's a pretty costly penalty with only 24 seconds to go, because now Hamilton really has a legitimate shot of getting at least a field goal.
Ticats 14, Toronto 4. 24 seconds left to play in the first half. The draw to Mark Ragignola. And he gets about 4 yards to the 44-yard line. Leon Lescavage and Earl Wilson, numbers 64 and 58 respectively. The Ticats will not huddle. Gain was actually closer to 5 yards, make it 2nd and 5. Clemens throws the out. The catch is made by Keith Baker, but he may have stepped out a yard short. Let's see now. The ball is spotted at about the 38-yard line. He had to get to the 37. With 10 seconds left, the Ticats send out Bernie Ruoff in the field goal unit.
Well, they've called for a measurement, but really it's of no consequence. As Pat mentioned, Bud Riley is not taking any chances with 10 seconds left. He sent his field goal team in.
Except that it is a first down. So now what happens? They've got 10 seconds. They could certainly throw a pass.
I don't think Bud Riley will take a chance with a 14-4 lead. I'm sure he'd just as soon settle for 3 points.
You're absolutely right. He's not even thinking about it. Arms folded. He's just looking out at this field goal attempt.
Well, there should be time for one more play after this one. I'd have thrown the pass. Ruoff's field goal is good. So the Ticats get the 3 points, but 5 seconds remain on the clock.
I'll tell you, Tom Clements is doing an excellent job holding for Bernie Ruoff, because he's getting not the greatest snaps from the backup center, Dave Graffey, but nevertheless, he got it up on the tee, and it was an excellent kick by Bernie Ruoff.
It is Hamilton 17, Toronto 4, with time for one more play. And now the Argos are going to ask the Ticats to kick off. And of course, it is Toronto's option. They could have taken the ball at the 35, but now they'll hope for a touchdown return. Ottawa had a punt return call back last night. There's a fellow, probably a graduate of Stelco U, Ticat fan. All of his life, you can see the intensity in his face. Argos with their kickoff return huddle. They'll have Mitter back there, and they'll have Terry Greer too, but chances are that Bernie Ruoff will kick it to John Lowe.
I have a feeling it won't even get that far.
Well, you're right. Jeff Gabrielson, number 72, picks it up and gets to the 50-yard line with 1 second left on the clock.
McIntyre made the tackle.
So the Argos will put it into play at their 49-yard line. And what does Conridge do now? Throw it up for Terry Greer?
I certainly would. I'd line up all my quickest receivers to one side of the field and throw it as far as I can, and one of three things could happen: a completion, a touchdown, or possibly an interference call.
Or a pass interception and return for a touchdown the other way.
I guess that was the fourth I wasn't thinking about.
Well, they got the trips formation to the right. And it's a quick kick instead by Jan Carinci. And it's all onside. The Argos, Cedric Minter touches the ball, but it bounces into Howard Fields' hands. And Fields is finally down at the 28-yard line. The Argos, of course, are saying that all three of those receivers on that side were onside. The official is saying that Carinci was behind them when he kicked the ball. They throw the no yards flag down. And when they get it sorted out, I suspect that we may have one more play left.
Well, I agree with the official's interpretation there. As we see Dave Shaw, I think he's going to decline the penalty, but
No yards. Toronto number 20 declined.
So the Ticats decline the penalty, and the half comes to an end with Hamilton out in front, 17-4.
And they head off the field to the cheers of this raucous crowd, and a very happy one, because of course the vast majority are Hamilton Ticat fans. But at least for another half, it continues to be the valley of death for the Argos, who have managed only 2 victories at Ivor Wynne Stadium in the last 12 years, believe it or not. So at the end of the second quarter, the score is Hamilton 17, Toronto 4. This is CTV's Friday Night Football. We'll continue with halftime in a moment.